is actually your market differentiator. Like, this is the thing that sets you apart from other people. Your special flavor of you is what attracts the people who are your people, who are your clients, who are your audience, who are your buyers, not you looking like Joe Schmo who makes a giant pile of money over there on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, yada yada. Not you looking like Miss Thing with her butt in the camera and stepping out of a car or whatever she's doing. Not like you trying to fit into the cookie cutter actually makes you invisible. And in today's episode, the 13th, lucky number 13 episode of the Wake Up Women Leaders podcast, we're going to get into the power, the attractive power of you being your authentic self in your marketing and advertising, in your branding. This is what we're diving into. Is that right, Nettie?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Uh, I'm still shaking off how we were starting this. And someday we will do a behind the scenes on how we get into starting every episode of the Wake Up Women Leaders podcast.
I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe. But to that point, it is totally aligned with doing things your particular way and showing up in the way that's uniquely yours and not showing up in, whatever the checkbox says on how to start a podcast. I am positive, hands down positive, that there is nowhere on the internet that tells people to start their podcast the way we start our podcasts. And I love that. And I want to bring it here today because I want you guys to know that this is the secret sauce, right? To you getting and attracting the kinds of people that you want to and serving the audience that was meant to be served by you. So, Victoria, tell us who you are.
Oh my. Why, thank you. So, I'm Sensei Victoria Whitfield, founder of strategicmeditation.com, where I help impact driven entrepreneurs and leaders get and stay grounded and clear in mind, body, and business. I am a strategic coach for business owners. I'm also a Reiki master, a meditation teacher. So, we bring that holistic toolkit to our clients and members to help them really balance their energy and increase it so they can increase their income and impact. What about you, Nettie? Who are you?
There's so many questions today. So many questions. I'm Nettie Owens. I am an executive coach, mainly for women, but a few amazing men that work with me as well. We focus on creating your specific system of success. System being the operative word here. We're looking for repeatable patterns, ways, structures, processes that will deliver you results not once, not twice, but every time you go out to do a thing. And I do that through one-on-one coaching, as well as programs like the Accountability Club that brings you accountability and planning support consistently. All right. Well, let's dive into this. And actually, how we just introduced ourselves is a really great example of leaning into our own way of doing things, our authentic selves. And for both of us, we can share that the more we have talked about what makes us unique and followed the things that feel good to us, the way we like to show up, the more people have come consistently to us that say, "Oh my gosh, I feel like you're speaking to me. I feel like you wrote that just for me. I feel like this is exactly what I'm looking for." And both of us have the experience of checking all the boxes, following someone else's process, and not getting the results that we were looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. And so allowing the introduction to share the unique perspective, the voice that we as individual business owners have developed over time is no small feat. Like
Mhm.
this is upon hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands at this time, bits of how do you say, repetition, iteration of, okay, can I really include that? Can I really say that? What am I known for in how I serve people, and then bringing that into the introduction as well. So I agree with you, Nettie. Even hearing the way that we introduce ourselves is already a great example of it. Another I would also say is how we look.
Mm.
Yeah, because okay, so we're both business coaches in our own right, and no suit in sight, no tie,
Mhm.
or blazer, right, with a hard shoulder.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, I you could say this is a comb over. I don't know. This is more like a mohawk. Actually, you can see I got a mohawk coming out the back. So, this is not like, oh, stuffy business people. But yeah, stuffy business people hire us
All day long.
all day long, baby. But they're looking for this version, and I'll tell a story. So I love ClickFunnels. It's a mostly male dominated group of web developers, website builders, and all this stuff, especially gearing towards increasing sales. So, very techie coder dudes. Imagine a room of like 7,500 of them. And literally,
Sounds like college to me.
yeah. So you go into the space, it's a sea of baseball caps, hoodies, backpacks, laptops, and jeans with sneakers.
Mhm.
And so I remember like having that first experience of like, okay, well, let me fall in line. And when I came to the mic, I was mistaken for another person
Ooh.
because I was in the baseball cap, the hoodie, the jeans, etc. You could not see any all of this. Oh my gosh.
And I'm just gonna point out black hoodie,
Yes.
black baseball cap.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like incognito, like stealth mode type.
Mhm.
Whereas for me, I'm like black lace fan is stealth mode for me.
Right.
So versus when I've come to meetings, I learned real quick after that. Man, I'm like, I am never coming back. I've paid way too much money. This costs as much as a car to be in this room. So I dressed like myself. What
Mhm.
I'm known for, what I'm photographed as, what I teach in all of the time. What I'm wearing right now, this is a floor length caftan, right? A big
Right.
flowy
And for
sack.
those listening and not seeing, it is a gorgeous forest
Thank
green
you.
with gold embellishment around a triangularly shaped neckline, gold jewelry, dangly gold leaf earrings. Her hair is curly and in kind of a short mohawk, and she has lovely deep red brown lipstick and square glasses with a black frame. And I'm doing this because it's important not just for our listeners, but for our folks who are joining us to give more accessibility to this podcast. I'm actually gonna do a tiny little aside before you share that. And I've done a lot of engagement with Johns Hopkins University, and they are really great leaders in this space of um, making information accessible. We came on to a Zoom meeting, and the first person who introduced herself as, a middle-aged white woman with long brown curly hair, and went into her whole appearance to just put up that perspective in. And so, this is a reminder that while your looks are not the most important thing, it gives context on many different levels about who you are and how you're showing up, and even just perspective in the sense that that person now paints an image in their mind of who you are and what you look like, and they can hear your voice, or perhaps it's being transcribed, but all of those kinds of things. So this is really important, that you show up as someone who is uniquely um, yourself. And I would encourage you, because Victoria's going to talk about her appearance again in just a second. We're not asking you to become Victoria. We're not asking you to become me, Nettie Owens. We're
No.
asking you to think about, you know, how do you love to show up? How do people recognize you? How does that actually call out your audience to interact and engage with you? So I'll let you take it back from here.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, 100%. Thank you for bringing that in. This is not to say that, uh, like the whole title of this episode is "Don't check the boxes." Like your market differentiator. So we're talking about studying and featuring you and your unique perspective. Let me put it this way. Shout out to one of my mentors, Mama Gina. What
Mhm,
turns you on? So I'm dressed for what turns me on. When I was trying to put on the uniform of the website Coder Bro, which
mhm.
I have in my wardrobe, I absolutely can.
That's a
Is that what
Halloween
turns me on?
costume.
It was like that was not what turns me on. I mean, I may be attracted to that, but not on me. Like you wear that. What I'm attracted to on me, what makes me feel my best is being in a flowy caftan situation, because it's literally a beautiful sack that I put on and slap on some earrings and lipstick, and suddenly I'm a goddess. And
Mhm,
that is the reality. But that's what connects with me personally. And to come, tie up the story, I came back dressed as I normally do, in bright flowy colors and long earrings, as of shoulder dusters that reach the clavicle, is the
mhm,
proper length for me personally. All of a sudden, I have plenty of people, men, women, children, dogs, coming up to me all of a sudden. Hi, what's your name? Oh, what are you doing? Oh, blah 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 blah. Like, suddenly it was as if I was a flame in the middle of a dark night, and all come everything drifting towards me,
mhm,
uh coming towards my radiance. Not because, oh, I have such a great sense of style. I mean, I very well may. I'm not going to shrink from that compliment. And it's me being me, that helped me stand out in a room full of, yes, I serve entrepreneurs, solopreneurs who oftentimes are coders. Absolutely. And it would benefit me, and it has benefit me better to show up embodying my authentic energy rather than showing up and trying to not make waves, trying to fit in, trying to check all of the boxes as much as possible. And I'll give this as a different example. So I have a client of mine who is a guy who's a realtor, and he has a background as a graphic artist, and he is heavily tattooed. Beautiful tattoos, heavily tattooed. When he started as a realtor, it was from his chin to the floor, tight, like suit, like tailored, everything. You couldn't see anything of the art that he embodies. And he was actually frustrated because people were like not really remembering him or recognizing him or that kind of thing. He's a very social guy. He still like has a great personality, but it wasn't really standing out. Then he started relaxing, maybe having a shorter sleeve shirt so you can see the sleeves, and talking about more of his hometown, where he comes from, using his accent, and his background. He started also bringing more of his art with our guidance into his marketing. Lo and behold, he started getting more contacts, more clients, more connections. So this is not to say that you have to be him or that you have to be me. The moral of the story is, who are you?
Mm.
Who are you being? And show up as capital YOU. It is better for you to stand out. That's how people who are searching for you can find you.
And you can stand out in the most quiet ways, right? So to kind of flip this around, I'm unlikely to be, I am very unlikely to show up in highlighter yellow 6-inch stiletto heels. But Victoria is very comfortable in a room in highlighter yellow 6-inch stiletto heels.
That's right.
You're going to find me with probably some amount of floral clothing somewhere. Something about what I wear is going to remind you of nature or the forest. You might think, wow, she looks a little like a fairy in the kinds of clothes, but it will be very as if it was paired with the 50s, right? Really like neatly tailored, oftentimes single color kinds of outfits, and that's what I like. I feel good in that, and people know me for that. Very like simple, sophisticated kinds of clothing, but very approachable. If you were to describe me on branding, it's always comes up as the girl next door. Like, so you can be quiet in your appearance and still be recognizable for who you are and how you show up. So again, reminding you, we're not asking you to go out and put on something super bright or super dark or super anything. We're just saying what feels right to you. And we're talking a lot about physical appearance, but Victoria also mentioned accent, which is important. I mean, think about the actors that you know, you recognize immediately because of their voice, or maybe a word that they use, or a phrase, or something along those lines. So the words you speak are part of this identity that you have and how you show up, and also your background. So Victoria mentioned her client starting to talk about his hometown and where he grew up. Equally important are the experiences and the learning, the education that you have or don't have. Like, you know, you may highlight that your education was through experience, or you might highlight that your education came through an institution. Equally okay, but let people get to know those parts of you. Let that, all of that combined together, be the thing that attracts people, instead of trying to hide away, you know, oh, well, I have a high school diploma, or I don't have a high school diploma. I don't have a PhD from a super exclusive university, and I'm really going to try and hide that away. Don't allow who you are, the things you've experienced, really to come forward and shine. So I'd like to invite you today to think about three things. What is one physical appearance differentiator that really, like, that's just who you are and how you love to show up? It might be a color or an article of clothing or a piece of jewelry or something like that. What's one thing about the sensory experience, your voice, um, how you move, things like that, that are unique to you, and or for word phrasing, things like that? And what is something about your background that is unique? And just take a piece of paper, jot it down. We're not asking for a 20 item list, just one small thing in each of those areas, and see if you can start incorporating that more in how you show up.
Yeah, and it can be what your hobbies are, or what is your beliefs are, can be elements of your culture, or even what you've overcome.
Mhm.
So for me especially, I've found that when I'm out public speaking, there's like a uh BC and an AD in my public speaking careers. Before I started sharing my rock bottom moment where I felt like an idiot, and then after I started sharing that. And that was my window of opportunity story, where I literally had my hands smashed between 20 to 40 pound panes of glass while at work. Like that dilemma of, okay, I am going into the hospital. And it was because of my own pride, right? To not ask for help. Before I told that story, okay, the talks were nice, but people would get up and take the free stuff and leave, right? Or not even take any of the free stuff that I bought. They just like go on to the next thing, or they take the free food that the company provided for them. It is what it is. Versus when I started sharing my rock bottom story, it was my turning point. It was the thing that um inspired me of like, okay, something's gotta give, and it's gotta be me. Once I started sharing that story, which honestly, like, it's an embarrassing story because I screwed up so bad that I got into the hospital. But once I started sharing that story as the reason, like when I had my aha moment, my shift, what happens is when you share your rock bottom or your turning point story with the crowd, or even in on video, that aha moment that you are sharing that you had, the listener, the audience, the viewer has. And I can tell you, AD, after I started sharing that story, it was always, and to this day is always, a line of people waiting to hug, take a picture, share their story of what happened to them, or someone that they know of who was a similar situation. They want my information. They want to talk more. It's the defining moment that not it wasn't just my defining moment as a rock bottom experience to share such a thing, but it was also for the audience, their defining moment of, they are like, oh, I am officially bought into whatever
Mhm.
we're talking about, or oh, I officially connect with this person. Have you had any of that for yourself, Nettie? Like when you go speaking, I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's evolved over the years, but I feel like over the last couple of years, the more I've brought in speaking about women's issues into the conversation and saying, well, that might be true for men, but a woman's experience is this other thing. Or, an example that actually just happened recently. I was giving a presentation. We were talking about productivity, and we had gone through like three-quarters of the presentation, and I'm giving my expert workshop or whatever that I've prepared, and I'm reading alongside the comments, and one person just chimes in about sleep and productivity. And I was like, well, yeah, sleep, productivity, and you also have to talk about perimenopause and menopause if we're going to be talking about those things. The chat just blew up. I mean, like blew up, right? So everybody is, oh yeah, we need to be talking about this, because when we don't talk about women's health, women's issues, and the systems that have been set up without consideration of them, then we have this like lopsided kind of half solution. And so once I started talking about that, and in my case, I really drew a line in the sand and said, for the most, like at the time, I said, I'm only going to work with women leaders. Now I've relaxed that a bit because I've had men who are okay with like the fact that I have this really impassioned view. They're okay with that. And they come to me and we work together, and it's great. But at the beginning, I really needed to draw the line and say, for myself, in order for me to embody this identity, I need to say that I'm an executive coach for women. And it was important for me to say that because I wanted to claim a space that hadn't been um, historically available uh, for this audience. And so that was really my like window of opportunity. And it came through my own experience with perimenopause, which was devastating and shorter than so many other people that I've spoken to. But at the time, I mean, it just it just took me out. It took me out of my business, my family, my community. I was still trying to eke and hold on to these experiences. And at the beginning, I'm like, well, I'm not a perimenopause expert. I don't want to be known for that. But the more I started opening up these conversations about experiences that women have, the more people were like, oh my gosh, I want to talk about this. This happened to me too. What resources do you have? And my work increased because of it. And there was a fear that I had, and maybe you've experienced this too, that you're going to become an expert in your trauma or in the thing like Victoria was talking about. Nobody thinks that she's an expert in windows just because her fingers got crushed by a window, right? I'm not an expert in perimenopause just because I talk about that as an important part of the conversation. And so I think that's a fear. It's a fear I had. So if we're, you know, being real here, it's a fear I had that suddenly I would be pigeonholed to only do that kind of work. It hasn't changed my executive coaching work, my accountability work, my strategic planning work, except that now I don't shy away from talking about difficult or less talked about topics, and so that's been super helpful. And now it's part of my identity, and people know me for it, and they feel seen and heard, as Victoria has been talking about, when they hear me talk about it or even just mention it. Like the fact that I normalize it being part of the conversation helps people see feel seen and heard.
Yeah, and I think it's important to also make a note of what both of us are sharing in our own ways. Like what take a stand for, what you take a stand for, how I arrange my image, how you like arrange your image, like how we look to others. This is coming from ourselves. This is
Mhm.
not based off of what's trending on TikTok or
Yeah.
what the news is talking about. It's not what's going on Twitter or YouTube, LinkedIn, or anything like that. This is coming from within. So you talk your walk. You
Yeah.
don't just talk so that you can talk or be the talk of the town or any of that kinds of crap.
Mhm.
This is about you digging into what's your authentic point of view. And it may be that you just don't know, right? So this is the reason why many people come and work with myself and Nettie, to really have someone sit you down so that you can like open up your treasure chest. For those of you who are listening, I'm like looking down in my bra, but but like you got to open up your treasure chest and look and see, what am I really packing? What am I packing? What do
Mhm.
I have? What are my goods?
I was gonna say
Um,
your assets, but yeah.
yes, thank you. Right? Because you are abundantly supplied. Like you have plenty of assets to share if you would dare look at, but no one does. What we do is we spend all of our time looking at others, comparing, pointing the finger, and trying to find value outside of ourselves. That's why, and I would recommend, if that's you, if you need help being able to see, like, okay, I need to know what's my voice, my brand, my vision, my perspective, my message, do comment below, connect. So that Nettie and I can reach out to you and see how we can help you really connect with that. Because not for nothing, I've worked with Nettie to help see more of my value. Nettie has worked with me so that she can see more of her value. Both of us have hired coaches and joined coaching programs to help us see our value. In fact, that was how Nettie and I originally met, was in a coaching program. So if you're listening and thinking to yourself like, okay, this is what I got to do on my own, put your hand out, put your left hand out and take your right hand and slap it and say, no, don't do it on your own, because you're listening to two people who didn't. So what makes you think that you have to be the only person in the universe who's so strong to figure it all out by yourself? I don't know. Maybe I'm
Mm.
going overboard and saying
Hold
that.
on, hold on. I want to, if this is where you're stuck right now, go back and listen to our last episode about loneliness and why that is a problem. So I'm just going to encourage you to check out episode 12 if you're stuck there. But no, you don't have to figure this out on your own. And even just a conversation, it's very easy to do. The three of us will all get together. We'll talk about the challenges you're facing and, pathways to find a way around, out, above, under, whatever direction you want to go to get to your particular way of succeeding. And before we move from that, I just want to let you guys know next week, we're going to be continuing this conversation in a way because we're going to be talking about showing up on social media, showing up visibly in the marketplace, and really understanding, is it the likes that are driving your business, or are you actually like measuring what's creating sales? And so we're going to talk about that differentiation, but I feel like there's an alignment here with that showing up, being yourself in the social media space. Once you start doing that, you might get a lot of like hearts and thumbs up and things like that. And you might think that's success, or that more, or maybe you're not getting those hearts and likes. So we're going to have that conversation. But to wrap things up for today, definitely comment, connect. Let us know if this is you, if this is a challenge you're experiencing, or if one of the other episodes has spoken to you. And I invite you to, if you've been enjoying following us for these last 13 episodes, or maybe you just picked up today, share this with somebody that could benefit from this message. Share it around. Like, we would very much appreciate that. But more so, we really want to help as many women to elevate where they are, to wake up. So if you know someone that could benefit, please share.
Yeah, we look forward to connecting with you. And as we close out, as a final word, I want to say, don't hold back.
Mhm.
There's a part of yourself that you may have been holding back because you think it doesn't check the box, right? It's not conventional
Or
to your
professional.
or professional, right? To your industry. But let this episode be your permission slip to say, you know
Mhm.
what? Yeah, I'm going to include it. And in fact, type it in the comments below. I want to hear, what are you going to include that brings out more of your authenticity because you watched this episode. We are sending you so much love. You don't have to lose your glow as you grow in life and business. We will see you on the next one. Bye, everyone.